Hey, here we go. Here we go. Live again on YouTube, BS3, Fire Stick, Buku TV. Yours truly, Johnnie Cole, and Johnnie Cole with the HBCU Stroll. Got a special guest, gonna bring him on a little bit. Just want to go over back and happen sweet. Valley falls again to Austin P 41-0. Alabama State go out west to California and falls to UCLA 45-7. Fam, you got back on the winning track. Hopefully everything's going well down there. They beat Albany State 23-13. South Carolina State all over Bethune-Cookman. Bethune-Cookman continues to struggle. Alcorn State, Tulane was just too much, 52-0. Alabama A&M go down to Troy. They fall 38-17, played tough though. Jackson State continue their winning ways, but it was a tough one. Tennessee State 3, Jackson State 16. Arkansas Pine Bluff all over North America. Me being a TSU fan, North America still trying. They beat them 76-3. Grambling, big win against a state rival, Northwestern State. They beat them 47-21. LSU all over Southern, 47-21 again. Southern showing, 65-17. Southern showing good defense. My alma mater, man, tough one. Playing North Texas State, got off to a good start again. Kind of sputtered there, and North Texas State took off. Won the game 59-27. Last but not least, I thought Prairie View would win. They had Abilene Christian in the first half. Abilene Christian was able to come back and win 21-13. Today is a special guest of ours. He's an alumnus of my great institution. We got a lot in common. We got a lot to talk about today. My special guest, the athletic director of my dear university, Dr. Kevin Granger.
Hey,
Coach, how you doing today? You know I call everybody Coach. That's what they said. So I'm calling you Coach. You coached before. Welcome to the show. First, I want to thank you. I know you're busy. I know you're right in the middle of one of the biggest program, football. Just want to say thank you for coming on.
Glad to be here, Coach Cole. Glad to be here. Always glad to come out and talk to a fellow alumni of the university, and obviously what you meant and brought to the university. So anytime you ask me to come on the show, I'm always available. I can rearrange my schedule, Coach.
Well, look, I thank you, man. And that you said that. I don't know how, when you got this position, it was just great, man. It was great to my heart. All the alumni was positive. Of course, you've been around the university, and I think how important it is to hire your own. I think it's very important.
Right. I thought it was perfect timing. As you know, with everything, timing is important too. Obviously, I was up under Dr. McClellan for 11 years, and Dr. McClellan obviously gave me some tools and skills that I needed to be able to step into this role. And once he got promoted, it was a natural transition. President Lane, who was the president at the time, saw something in me and thought that I could move this program forward and continue to lead it. So I was blessed, Coach, just right time. And a lot of times you get the opportunity to do some great things.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go back now. We ain't going to start from where we are. We're going to get there.
Right.
Scuba, Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
I don't even know where Scuba is.
Right. Most people don't.
Huh?
Most people don't know where it's at. I would agree.
Coach Moreland or Coach Lacey comes down, watch this young cat, back folks up, school them like old Oscar Robertson. How did that happen?
Well, Coach Moreland and Coach Reynolds had a great following in Jackson, Mississippi. And thankfully for us, every state championship is held in Jackson, at the arena in Jackson. So when I got an opportunity to go up there and play, I think some of his people obviously told him then that this is a guy down there in Scuba that can, do some things, at least on the basketball court. And they came down then and started recruiting me and things of that nature. And everything else just aligned and fell in place. I was excited about it because they also had a lot of fellow Mississippians on the team. most of the guys, Kevin Adams, Theon, them were from Jackson area. And then we had Anthony Jones. I'm so close to the Alabama line. He was right there from Alabama. So it was, I didn't know him per se, but it was a lot of people from the surrounding areas that I'm from.
Yeah, well, I played for Coach Moreland too, so correct. I know we used to go to Utica all the time. If we're going to play a team in Mississippi, we're going to stop in Utica where he's from, and I guess he's going to go visit. And, of course, we had a lot of players on our team from Mississippi as well. Yeah. Man, I tell you, you don't know, though, but, hey, I admired you back in the day when I used to come in. I used to probably travel the basketball team to see you bag them up. I know you led the nation. 27.0. One of your friends told me, don't let you tell him he wasn't putting in twos. He was going to the free throw line.
Hey,
so they said 20 was on the free throw line.
Hey, I take it however I get it. So that's if I can get any kind of way to get the 27, I actually take it. I mean, they used to tell me all the time, somebody would be like, hey, man, you get all your points from the free throw line. Well, obviously, somebody got to be fouling me to make me go to the free throw line. That means you can't stop me then, obviously, if you keep fouling me. Yeah. So, I just played to the strength of my game. I mean, I didn't try to go out there and do what everybody else wanted me to do. I played to the strength of my game, and my game was penetrate, getting to the hole, getting the contact, and then, finishing obviously around the rim. And then obviously being able to go to the free throw line. I tell you the truth, Coach, I was talking to my parents the other day, and if I would have known now what I knew, you always say if you'd have known then what you know now, I could have averaged way more than 27 points. It's many games I just would shut it down. I get 20 the first half and shut it down because I felt as a point guard, I was probably dominating the game too much. And then I wanted to make sure my teammates got involved in the game. But if I'd known now, I would have just went on and pushed it. I could have easily, averaged probably 30-something easily.
Yeah. Now, one of your guys said, well, let him know, too, he probably couldn't have played in the game this year because he never shot a three-pointer. I didn't know how your game was from the outside.
And that's untrue, Coach. That's untrue, too. So so don't let them fool you. Now I will say my freshman year I didn't attempt a 3-point shot at all. I didn't shoot not one 3-pointer my freshman year. And then after that, Coach met with me that summer, and Coach was like, "Hey, eventually people gonna start figuring out that you're not shooting threes, so we gotta start taking them." So each year after that, I took more and more 3-pointers. But Coach Moreland did tell me that he was like, "Hey, you can't just be only a penetrator because teams will start to figure you out. So you have to start shooting threes. So don't let them fool you." Maybe they talking about my first year. I didn't shoot any of them, but after that, then it progressed.
Man, Coach, you've been out of the coaching realm. You got into the administrative part. Hell, you sound like you still can coach. You still can coach.
I'm just like you, Coach. Once you do it, I tell everybody it's in your blood. I mean, you might not be able to call all the X's and O's like you used to because you ain't just there every single day. But the fundamentals and things of the game haven't changed. So just like you can go out there right now and know probably what they're running better than a lot of the coaches out there, what they're actually calling the plays. So you can see it in advance. And I'm the same way in basketball. Sometimes I can sit down here, I stand up in the exact same place, and I can see when the guy's getting ready to turn the ball over or make a mistake, or I can tell if they running the play correctly too. When you've been doing it so long, you just have that vision for it.
Yeah, I still get calls from my players today that's running the offense that I was in. And of course, I'm still close to the game of being a facility manager up where I am and watching football Thursday and Friday and Saturday. But, man, somebody had to teach you this game. Let's talk about your family. We got some things in common. I know your two older brothers. I've heard that story as well about you.
Right. No question, Coach. I give them all the credit. Everything I've ever accomplished, I thought, was because of them. We were a close-knit family. They were not just typical older brothers. There's a lot of older brothers. I'm 3 years apart from my Shedrick, who's closest to me. They're 6 years apart from Pat. But they didn't treat me like a younger brother. They allowed me to go with them, be around them, and actually play with them. And most people even back in my hometown, still talk about it. Eventually, I started to catch up with them. And so once I started to catch up to them, then you didn't have a chance if we were probably the same age or around the same age. So eventually I started, and I thank them so much for allowing me that opportunity to, be able to get out there and play with them. So it allowed me to progress and learn things at an early age where I don't think other people had that opportunity.
Well, iron sharpens iron. So they gave you opportunity. Mm-hmm. Man, your education is from Texas Southern. You just received your doctor's degree not too long ago. I want to say congratulations to that.
Appreciate it.
And, I kind of, when I came through campus, I mean, you were always that low-key, smooth guy. You didn't walk around with your chest out. You were just all about the business. How did that part, your character-wise, take role from going to school?
Well, I think I think that's so important. Back then, when we came through as well as today, I mean, you're only so good as your character. I mean, eventually I tell people, and I give even the parents that come on the campus and all of the students, when they bring them in to see me, I talk to the parents and the students about the importance of education. I give them a prime example. I was fortunate. I got an opportunity to play professional basketball. That's rare, especially coming from an HBCU. We don't get that opportunity. But I only played, coach, for about 3-4 years. And so now you take me, about 24 or 25-year-old youngster, when I stopped playing professional basketball. But I'm 48 now. So for the last 23 years, I've been making my living off my education. And so that's what I stress to them and their parents. That education is the single most important tool that you can carry from a university. Anything else, if you put your stock in maybe playing pro ball and things of that nature, it's a blessing if you get that opportunity, but you need that education. And that's the reason why we stress it. That's the reason why I was brought up to believe that, hey, you treat people with respect at all times. And that's how I carry myself. And then I'm from that old school culture. You just never know who you're going to need. You treat everybody right because you don't never know. That person may be the one to decide, your future in some regard. So I just always believe in treating everybody right, treating everybody fair, and treating everybody with respect.
Yeah. Now your pro career, I was going to kind of talk about that. You kind of played overseas.
Mm-hmm. I had an opportunity to go into Golden State. And I played in the preseason with Golden State, and then fortunately they had Mark Price, Bimbo Cole, B.J. Armstrong at the time, so they had 3 veteran point guards. And then I left that, ended up going to Italy and played in Cyprus and played in Argentina. Then had an opportunity to go back in with Milwaukee for a workout session and things of that nature as well. So really happy with, how things turned out. I would love to have been in the pros a little longer. Thought I had the talent to do that at the time. But, everything works out differently sometimes. And you got to be okay with how to playing the chips that you're dealt sometime as well and go ahead and move forward and do what you need to do to be successful.
Yeah. Man, leading the nation, in the whole nation, 27 points a game. Man, that means some nights you put up 30 or 40. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we could score the ball, Coach. I will say that. We could score the ball. Even when I played professional, I was the number 2 scorer in the country over there. I mean, I've always had the ability to be able to score the ball. So it's, we never had a problem putting the ball in the basket, as you want to say.
Yeah. Whether it was free throws or not. So I'm going to make sure
they can call it whatever they want to. I don't know. At the end of the day, it said TP. That means your total points. So I don't know what everybody else talk about.
Once again, being alumnus and having alumnus leading our athletic program, I'm big on that. One thing about Johnnie Cole, I'm a loyal guy, and I believe in that. Right. And I got that. Man, let's talk Kenny Smith. Mm-hmm. Man, I mean, you guys are like brothers, and I'm trying to figure him from North Carolina, right? You from Mississippi. He played big, as they would say, Division I, and you played at Texas Southern. Where did you guys meet at?
We actually met. It's a funny story. I used to be closer to Vernon than Kenny. So when it first
Vernon Maxwell, who used to play with the Rockets.
Vernon used to always come to the games. Vernon used to come to the dorms. Vernon Maxwell, and they used to put in the paper about how opposite attract. Vernon was one way, I was a totally different way. So as time progressed, I had the opportunity to go in, work out with the, play with them with Kenny and the Rockets and all of them during the summertime to work on my game, at funding and things of that nature. So Kenny and I started developing a relationship, and then I started working his camps and things of that nature, and our relationship just continued to grow. And Kenny and I started bonding and kind of was in the same realm. Our personalities and things of that nature started meshing, and we started getting along and started doing things. In the Rockets, as I said, it had Sam, Robert Ory, Kenny, Vernon, them. A lot of them would come to our home games. And so our relationship blossomed that way. I actually talked to Kenny this morning. We probably talk every day, if not every day, at least every other day. So we're real close.
And I don't know, I kind of read it, so it's popular news that he actually donated money through his parents' foundation, but in care of you, to our program, which we need those type of funds to take us where we are.
And two, most people miss it, and I'm sure you will recognize this, especially with the platform that you're on now. We couldn't pay for the amount that it would cost for Kenny and them to talk about us on TNT during NBA. Right. We couldn't pay for that as a university. I did the numbers. Those figures are about $10 million. Right. If you go sometime and look, Kenny and them will talk about us. I've got one clip where they talked about Texas Southern University for a minute. Right. For a minute straight. So that kind of advertisement that we get on TNT for them, and they have done it numerous of occasions, they have highlighted Texas Southern. That's just huge, not only for the athletic department, but for the entire school, because now we're getting our brand out there, and hopefully it's allowing us to attract, more students, not only student athletes, but just general students that hear your name in a positive way. So I tell the alums and everybody too, don't miss that either, because that is huge for us to be able to be on a national stage like that.
No, you don't have to apologize for who you are and who you know, and that's why it's important, Kevin, to me and to you, because we do have that passion for this university, is that when you get somebody that's walked the Tiger path and stayed in the dormitories, and now they into the workforce, and I was going to talk about this a little later, that people give money to people.
Oh, no question.
Yep. It ain't about, let me get this building $1 million. Right. It's about the connection between with people, and that's real important. Your wife is from Texas Southern, graduate.
Yes.
Yeah. Son graduated Texas Southern. You see all this? We got all this cut. I got two daughters.
I know. All your people came through Texas Southern too. So hey, what you're saying is exactly spot on. You and I both are Texas Southern true. I mean, we're Texas Southern University up and down. It even made sure that our kids even was a part of Texas Southern, just because we believed in Texas Southern, and I still do, and I know you do too. We believe in Texas Southern, and Texas Southern has done some amazing things for us. You or I would not be sitting here if it wasn't for Texas Southern University. So we have to always keep that in focus.
Ain't no question. Now, one more basketball thing, and then we'll get you to the AD part of it.
Okay.
Man, you got hurt before the Arkansas game. Damn it.
Yep.
You went in there, your ankle looked like your knee.
Right. It did.
But you still balled out.
Right.
How did you feel? I mean, Jesus. Was it a nagging injury, or what it just happened in one game?
Well, it happened at the I was pretty bad. It's my buddy that I played in high school with. I came down on his foot in the first half, and then the ankle just exploded after that. I was in the locker room at halftime hoping they could do something so we could come back out and play in the second half, but they couldn't do anything for it. That's the first time in my life that I actually cried in the locker room, but because it's a championship and what I feel was on the line, and you don't get an opportunity, as you know, to go to that NC2A, championship too many times. So I was crying in the locker room, but thankfully the teammates played phenomenal. I mean, I remember Kevin Adams, he obviously won the MVP of the tournament, stepped up huge, and the rest of our teammates stepped up and they were able to win. So it gave me at least a little opportunity to do treatment. I did treatment, coach, I would say probably 20 hours a day, trying to do treatment on the ankle just to get it, at least decent for to go out there and play. The team left and obviously had to go out, and I stayed back behind and did more treatment up until the day of the game almost, and just went out there and just did the best I could. It's a funny story. Coach ended up taking me out of the game because he thought I was hurting so bad. He ended up taking me out, and Arkansas extended the lead. They went up probably like 17 points, for halftime. He came to me at halftime. He said, "Hey, what do you think?" I said, "Coach, the worst thing can happen is I break my ankle. And we got all summer now for it to heal. So I'm okay with that." He said, "You sure you're okay with it?" I said, "Yeah, you don't have to worry. I won't blame you for anything. If I break my ankle, I'm okay with it." And then he didn't take me out. So immediately the second half, we got off to a great start and was able to close that lead down and then make a game out of it. And we battled them all the way to the end. And I surely thought we were going to be able to pull it out.
And this was the same reason why I brought it up, and it was so important. Not only that you played on a hurt ankle, this same Arkansas team went on to win the whole NCAA tournament. And
they won it the year before. It's funny. We played the runner-up 2 years in a row. The year before we played Duke, and Duke lost the championship, obviously, to Arkansas. Then the next year we played Arkansas, and Arkansas lost the championship to UCLA. So for 2 years in a row, we were able to play the runner-ups. And then we battled Arkansas, man. They would have been huge.
Wow. Well, let's talk about our athletic department. We own the campus.
Right.
I know. How's our GPA overall as athletes?
Well, as you know, we just won the All Academic Success Award from the SWAC, from the conference office, meaning we have the #1 academic program in all of the SWAC. So I'm telling everybody, hey, you stand up, because it ain't easy to get to #1. I don't care what you're doing. And so when you have #1 in GSR, which you're talking about graduation success rate, we had an all-time high. We broke the school record this year. We're around 87%, and we're also at about 974 APR. We broke the record for our APR too. So we're exceeding in both of those areas. Our student athletes and coaching staff and academic department, compliance department are doing an outstanding job when it comes to making sure our student athletes are achieving what they need to achieve. And more importantly, Coach, they're graduating. They're leaving here with their degree in hand.
I know we were talking about facilities. It's one of the things I kind of specialize in now.
Mm-hmm.
Where we are facility-wise. Of course, I've heard we, doing some new things, and of course, we got to let our folks know that we just not standing still.
Correct. If you notice right now, I'm sure, I don't know if you can hear, but right now they're currently installing a new floor on our gymnasium. Based on back then we had the weather damage and we played on a temporary court last year. So now we have the permanent court getting installed now. We also did a project. It was a 2-phase project, and then we have to let alums know, and this, Coach, we don't have but one football field, you all. We ain't like everybody else that have practice fields and they got all of these fields. Here at Texas Southern University, we only have one. And so therefore we had a partnership with the Texans where we received new turf. And so we had to phase it in. First thing we did, Coach, and you appreciate this because it was a problem even back, for a long time. Those long jump pits was on the playing surface. So you went from turf to the long jump pits before you got to the track. And so those long jump pits was a safety hazard. We had one of our student athletes tore his ACL in the spring game because it go from turf right to that Mundo track surface, and it's like ice almost, and he just slipped out. You can't break. You don't have enough time to break down. So we were able to do the Texans partnership to go in that phase and clean that up first. So now turf extends all the way to the track. We've removed the long jump pits and we're relocating them. And now the turf will run all the way up to the track. And then we'll come back in, Coach, soon as the football season is over and soccer season is over, and install the turf in the middle part of the field too. So now they'll have a whole, entirely new turf. So that's important.
Now, will that satisfy the NCAA?
Yep.
Of course,
Yep.
That's been the reason why we hadn't been able to play on campus.
Correct. We'll satisfy that now. So we do have that crossed out with the extension of the turf. We met that requirement. Now, obviously, we're going to continue to upgrade. We don't have restrooms and things of that nature out there. So it's a phased approach to that as well. But I wanted to make sure we laid that out, Coach, because a lot of people, they say, hey, y'all didn't do the whole project with the turf that the Texans gave you. We have to do phased approach because we cannot or could not take a chance of not having that field available when it was time to start training camp for soccer, not only soccer, football, and our band practice out there, Coach, as you know. So it's
right.
A lot of people are depending on that field to be ready and be able to be used.
Right.
And I'll share this too, Coach. We have one other project that we're doing right now. We're doing the football upgrade in the locker room. So that's another part of the partnership with the Texans is a whole new football upgrade in the locker room. They have done all the paint, did the new ventilation. We installed new fans in there. We made some repairs to some cracks and things of that nature that was in there as well. And our new lockers will arrive here on Wednesday. So the new lockers will arrive Wednesday. We'll put that in, and then it takes about 3 days to install them. And then our new flooring that we're doing in there come in right behind the lockers. So I'm hoping that the project probably be completely done in probably about another week and a half.
Yeah. Now, I got all my little secrets on the campus. Ain't we gonna do something with our baseball?
Yeah, we're working really, really hard now to through a partnership that we have with the Astros to help us get our own baseball and softball facility. We're excited about that. We're thankful to the city of Houston. We've been playing out there in the city parks for a long, long time. But now we are working with our partners now, and we're carving out and looking at, locations where it's possible for us to have our own baseball and softball stadium. We recently just put up a brand new baseball and softball batting cage right here on campus.
Right. Now, are we looking to try to build it on campus?
Yes, that's the idea, Coach. We're trying to make sure that we carve out something that's really, really close to campus. We're looking at some locations on campus. We have an architect firm that we're working with and seeing about where we can put that at. We wanted to make sure we kept it close to campus so our students would be more involved and they can come right out there to the game. If they just have to walk out of the dorms and walk to the stadium, that'll be more beneficial for us.
Now one thing, of course, let folks know that me and you do talk off campus, off screen and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. This is one of the things, how is fundraising going in the support from our alumni of reaching out?
Well, it's getting better. I mean, obviously, we have a select group that we always hear from that will do the bulk of our fundraising and the bulk of our things. But we started what we call was the Student Athlete Initiative. We did a fundraising campaign where we were able to send that out. And that was a $20 a month commitment. It was $240 a year. And we send that out from time to time. And we had a lot of alums to come aboard on that. We have the Tiger Club, which is an alumni-led club that will support us a lot, as well as Maroon and Gray. Their chapter is doing a lot. So we have a lot more alumni now getting involved and helping out. I think they see, as well as I know, we're alums too. They want to see what you're doing and make sure you're doing things in the correct manner with the funds that they are sending you. And I think once people see that and they can see the growth and they see what we're doing, building and addressing our facilities, they'll get more involved. And Coach, I didn't share this, but we already approved for a new strength and conditioning facility. We already have the money for it. It's already been out for bid. The bid is getting ready to close. We're going to put that new facility where the old basketball courts was at on the outside. So the foundation is already there. That facility should start here within the next couple weeks.
Right.
So we'll start on that brand new facility. As you know, Coach, we only had one here in the gymnasium. And when you got 16 sports, it's just hard to coordinate one weight room for 16 sports. So we're addressing a lot of facility concerns.
Right. Do your department kind of keep track of with some of the former players? You know, we talked about, you know, the relationship between former players in our athletic department. It's important, you know, me being a former player myself, of course, and a coach, you know, to be able to feel at home when I come to visit the campus.
Right. Oh, that's extremely important. I mean, being a former athlete as well, I think that's the driving force. I think we need the former athletes to be involved. We have reached out to several of them. Several of them now do tutoring and mentoring for our program. So we wanted to get them involved. We also do probably once or twice a year where we invite the alumni back from that played in that particular sport. So we try to get them to come out and be a part of the program at a game. We'll do it off campus, depending on the sport. So every single sport would actually do it so we can have an opportunity to keep these alumni and these FX athletes involved.
Hey, I got a question from some of my followers. It says, what was it like to be an assistant coach for your former head coach, Coach Moreland?
For me, it was great. I mean, obviously, when you get an opportunity to learn from Coach Moreland, not on the basketball playing side, but also on the coaching side, it's just invaluable. I mean, it's like, you know, just adding so many nuggets to you. Because he always coached, and I'm sure you remember this, he always stressed to us that Texas Southern was bigger than all of us. And I really, as a player, didn't really understand what he was saying at the time. I was like, this is just another one of these terminologies that Coach Martin came up with. But as I transitioned into the administration role or coaching on the sideline with him, he was talking about we had to carry Texas Southern in the highest regard. You can't be out there doing things to embarrass the university. And that was his message. Don't ever do anything to embarrass Texas Southern University. And so you got an opportunity to learn that and carry that now and keep passing those nuggets on down to the generations that are coming behind us.
Yeah, I had a great experience with Coach Moreland. He would say things to you, and you couldn't give him an answer right then. If you gave him a stupid answer, you would come back and say, "Coach, I know what you meant by that."
Right.
You know? I remember we went to go play University of Kansas, and we were riding in the car, in the vans, going to practice. And he said, "Y'all see those people up there? They're going to be running America, and y'all not going to be paying attention."
Right.
Well, what he was saying to us, that's why you're here.
Exactly.
Graduate from school and where you can compete against the same people. So
exactly.
I can't say enough about Coach Moreland, you know, a smooth way, and Coach Reynolds as well, who was one of our great coaches. Well, Coach, our two major sports, basketball, of course, is football.
Correct.
Where we are, where you feel that we are in those two major, because they actually carry our athletic program.
Correct. I think obviously we all can agree basketball at this point is way ahead of football. Obviously, you know, you look at the last 2 years, we were able to win the championship and not only win the SWAC championship, but win a game in the NC2A tournament. So now as a total, Texas Southern have 3 NC2A wins under their belt. And 2 of them came from Coach Jones, and obviously one of them came, Coach Mike Davis was able to win a game. So obviously we're real happy with where we at as a basketball program, although we're still pushing. I told Coach Jones the other day, now it's our job to get to the tournament and stay longer. We don't want to just get there and play in the playing game and win that and exit. Now it's time to try to get to the 3rd round of the tournament and try to advance. Obviously, football, we were expecting, I will say this, and it's no secret, we were expecting to be a little farther along at this stage of this year. We thought last year, and even when I talked to the football program, I thought last year we had an opportunity, Coach, to be a little more successful if we got the breaks. And what I mean by that, it was several games came down to the end. Yeah. It's, you know, even the Alabama A&M game, 52-49. We have the lead. If we stop Alabama, or if we get Alabama A&M, or if we get a break, we could easily win that game. Same thing I thought happened at Alabama State. So even when I talked to them, I said, hey, last year we didn't get the breaks. Going into this year, we were hoping that some of those unfortunate breaks we didn't receive last year, another year in your belt, you would get some of those breaks and give us an opportunity to be a little more successful as a football program. We're making some adjustments, as I said, to, obviously to better it for our football program. We're adding the strength and conditioning. Now, it's not just for football, but we all know football has to be stronger in the weight room in order to be able to get out there and compete. We're making the adjustment for extending the turf and putting the new turf in. And we're also making the adjustment to give them new locker rooms. And so the student athletes can feel good about it, Coach. When if you ain't got the correct facilities these days, it's a new age student. It's hard to recruit and be able to out recruit people when they got the facilities and you don't. So obviously we had to address those issues as well. And now that we are addressing those, we're expecting our performance to go up. We can no longer be a underperforming football team. We want to be a team that can go out there and compete with anybody.
Yeah. Hey, this is one. I know you're a basketball guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a football guy.
Right.
And this always bothers me. Why do our fans don't follow our basketball team? And we just talked about it. Our basketball team is a perennial winner. It's one of the winningest programs in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
It's up in the top 5, I think, like number 4.
Right.
I don't understand why. I got my own not reasons, but understanding it, because Texas is a football country. Right. But we need to be able to follow our basketball team much better than we do.
I totally agree with you 100%. And that's the message that we try to send out anytime we can get an opportunity to get in front of alums. You got to come out support. My thing is, I tell them the same as when I spoke at the Maroon and Gray event. I tell them the same thing for the football program. You got to get out there and support them. I said, it's hard to ask a student athlete to push through that line when he look up in the stands and ain't nobody sitting there cheering them on. Alumni fan support is so important because it gives you that extra energy, that extra oomph that you need sometimes to go out there and make the play. As you stated, our basketball team, we're really, really successful at basketball. So I tell people all the time, they say, well, we now come to football because we're not winning as much. Well, I said, well, the basketball arena should be sold out then, because it stays, we win in basketball. So if that's the measuring school that you're talking about, measuring stick that you're referring to, I can understand you saying, okay, well, we can't come to football games because you're not winning as a high rate right now. But that means sell out the basketball arena then. So your argument can make sense, and so that's the message we're seeing. We're hoping that our alumni get more supported. One thing we do too, as you know, at Texas Southern, we're a commuter campus. All of our students stay off campus and they're not coming back, Coach. When you live out there in Sugar Land, Katy, places like that, when you leave and drive all the way out there to go home, you're not coming back to the campus. So now we're building more dormitories on campus and things of that nature. We've having better turnout with the freshmen. So we're hoping that translates to the students getting back involved, and hopefully the alumni will as well.
I got a question from Essential Feed.
Okay.
It says, does Dr. Granger feel coach, I guess you meant football coach, is moving the program in the right direction?
Well, it's always a evolving evaluation, Coach. I will say that, and anybody knows that. You're always evaluating the program to understand, to see. As I stated, we tackled a lot of the things from an administration side that we felt was not allowing us to move the program forward. Now, when we tackle all of those issues, it gives us a great opportunity now to dive in and say, hey, are we running the right schemes? Are we moving the program and getting the right recruits? Are we moving the program in the right direction? And have a better judgment on now evaluating, the coaching side of the aspect of the football team.
Yeah, Coach, it's starting to rain on us. I'm gonna ask one more question about this football, then we gonna move on to something else. Okay. It says those C7 logistics, those are all great projects and improvement. But what are you doing to help TSU get out of the bottom of the SWAC football conference and become competitive? and start winning?
Well,
You've already answered some of those.
Yeah. I think I already answered, that one, but I can go on. I think one thing we as Tigers had to do, and I explained it to the alum, we have to address some of the fundamental issues that's been plaguing Texas Southern for a long time. We did a scale, Coach, and I don't mind saying we're one of the worst programs in the school. I mean, in the SWAC when it comes to facilities. That's a real issue. I mean, it's not something we can run away and hide from. And many times today, your recruiting is based on how your facilities are. And so we had to address those issues and do things to kind of close that gap. We have done that and we are doing that. Now, are we done with it? No, we're not done with it. We still have more work to do. And I think once we start doing all of those things, and then we should see an improvement.
Okay. One more question. They said, do you think if the school would promote the games more, which I think is a good question, that we would get those players because some might not know enough about the university?
Well, it goes twofold, Coach. I mean, we put out the information. I mean, we send out all the information every time we have games, before games, after games. I mean, we're always getting it out to the best of our ability. We send it to our alumni divisions. They get it out. Our alumni relations get it out as well. So we're getting it out. And as I mentioned earlier, when you got people like Kenny Smith and them and all of them talking about you on the network, on TNT and things of that nature. So you get an opportunity to get the information out. I think for us, Coach, we all know this. I mean, I don't run away from it. You get it out better when you're winning. I mean, I don't run away from that. I mean, I think all of us as athletes and everybody as administrators, former coaches now, everybody understand when you're winning, more people come out. More people know about what you're doing when you're winning. So I'm not running from that. I'm not running from that question, Coach.
Well, man, we're talking about those situations and, they will get better. Of course, it's not no secret to me. I've been around the university for 40 years and it's been tough on our football program.
Right.
Let me ask you this. 90% of all athletic directors in this country is white. And I want to let you know how special you are. I don't know if you know that. Right. Just being an athletic director and one of color, and I don't know your future. You know what I mean? What do you tell a young HBCU graduate who wants to coach and knowing that there's 90% of athletic directors are white? And even now, he can't even come coach at his own alma mater because he either ain't played in the NFL or he's not coached at a PWI. Mm-hmm. What would your words be to him?
Well, I will start off by being resilient. You got to be resilient. You got to build your resume. I mean, that's one thing with a lot of coaches these days. They don't want to go through that grind, if you want to say, Coach. I was happy to join. I went from being a professional athlete to being on Coach Moreland's staff as a third assistant. I didn't walk into the building thinking I was going to be his number one assistant, but I was willing to put that time in. And even on Dr. McClellan's staff, I started off as a director of operations. Then obviously I worked my way up and worked my way up and worked my way up. Most people these days, Coach, don't appreciate the grind. They wanted almost everybody I talk to think, okay, hey, I need to already be promoted to be the head coach. As you, Coach, you had to put in your time to become a head coach. You got to build your resume up. And it ain't just about, oh, I went to school at any school you went to. Oh, I went to school there, so they should take me. No, they're always basing it on resume and people who they feel can push the button. Now, you go out there and you build your resume up, you get your talents. It's no other like being on a normal job. You don't go to being the CEO, and the coach is the CEO. You don't go to being the CEO of a company unless you're building your resume up. So I tell them, that's my message to them. Appreciate the grind and don't think you're not going to be able to have to do the grind a lot of times. You're going to have to do that grind to get that opportunity. And now people are transitioning, as you said, more. They're starting to look more at NFL type coaches and things of that nature. And I think that's because of the fact that, they've been coaching it at the highest level. Don't necessarily mean they're going to always be successful in getting those jobs, but I think they feel that they coached at the highest level. And so they're giving those guys now more opportunity.
Well, speaking of that, I know at Texas Southern, back when I played, my coach was a professional guy.
Right.
And we were successful knowledge-wise, but we weren't successful as successful as could be on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you look at the history of the conference, and we bringing these guys in, professional basketball players, that, professional football players, and they not having success.
Right.
And I believe what you believe. I believe the grind,
right.
because you played the game and because you played at a higher level, don't mean I don't think you should give, because this guy lived in a mansion, I'm gonna give him the key to CUNY homes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't think he can go from a mansion to CUNY homes and say, "Oh man, we're going to turn this thing around."
Right.
Because it's doing the same thing, expecting different results. It's called insanity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. I totally agree with you. Most people, like I said, and you get some outliers. Sometimes you're gonna get somebody that's gonna do really, really well at it that came from it. So it's always a judgment call, and you got to do your research and do what's best you think for your university at that time. Now, it's going to be some situations where we all know that it ain't going to work out the way you thought it was or expected it to work out. But you got to evaluate it and do what's best, at least on paper, what you think is what's best for the university at that time.
Yeah, when you look at our conference, you can go back to Coach Rob Broadway is one that I know, and Coach L.C. Cole is another. Pete Richardson came from Youngstown, who was a successful coach. So it's few far in between. So what's next for Dr. Kevin Granger? What's next? President, maybe?
No. I don't want to go up, Coach. I love athletics. I'm gonna be honest. I love doing two things. I love our student athletes graduating and teaching our student athletes, because I teach I'm an adjunct professor here, so I teach a class here as well. So I love seeing these students, not just student athletes, but students get impacted, Coach. I mean, that's where it's at. When you can get your education, you have a chance to make it out here, because now you have the same foundation to stand on that everybody else have. If you don't have a college degree, and you know that, these jobs are going to be hard to get in the future without some type of credentials. So I love being here in this part of it, and I love impacting. This job allows me to impact student athletes. I was a former student athlete and a coach, just like you were a former student athlete and a coach. We see the impact that we can make while we are sitting in these seats and these roles on these young men and women. And that's the joy I get, just making this kind of impact and seeing these student athletes be successful.
Yeah. I know, during your course and your grind at Texas Southern, and you were picked as the coach in waiting. I know that was a sore spot. I can remember, man, when just how you were. And that kind of hurt me, because I was caught up in the middle of it.
Right.
And I guess that's the same thing that these young coaches asking now is that, man, I played here, man, I've done all my stuff. What kind of mental did you go through to gather yourself?
Right.
And look at you now.
Right. Well, I think it takes great resolve, Coach, and that's when I keep saying you got to appreciate the grind. At that time, the individuals that had the opportunity to make the decision didn't feel I was ready for the task, or felt someone else could do the task, better. It didn't deter me at all, Coach, because in my mind, I tell anybody I'm one of the best to ever do what I do. And so it didn't deter me. It just told me that, hey, sometime in life, you don't get the opportunity that you deserve at the time. I mean, we all feel we deserve things at the time, but it wasn't going to deter me. If I would have let that deter me and didn't have perseverance, I wouldn't be here today. I would have got out there and went crazy on the university and bad talk the university because of it, because of that situation. I told everybody that was individuals making the decision. That wasn't Texas Southern University. That wasn't Texas Southern. So I'm not going to turn and get out here and have ill will against Texas Southern. That was an individualized thing. And that doesn't deter me or shape me for what I'm supposed to do going forward.
I mean, like I told you when we first started, man, we got so much in common. Of course,
right.
You were around what happened to me. And, people ask, man, that was a whole nother administration.
Right.
You know, this school, these buildings, this what I love. You know,
exactly.
And, went through the mental and
but I would say this too, Coach. You had to grind to even get that opportunity. I know you had applied for the job a couple of times and didn't get an opportunity to get it. But you stayed on that grind. You went out there and you continued to build your resume, continued to do the things you needed to do to put yourself in position to when it came up again that you were the man for the job and you end up getting the job. And that's the same thing with these young coaches and today got to understand. Just because I don't get it the first go around don't mean I'm out of the game. Right. It just means I need to keep working and kind of advancing myself a little more. So next time it come around, then, okay, now, I should have an opportunity. Or now I have an opportunity to be in a better place to apply for the job. That don't mean Texas Southern hates you or Texas Southern don't love you. You don't turn on the school just because you don't get the job. We love
you, Coach. Yeah. Look at my next question. This your love for you. Right. So will the HPE Arena ever be called the Moreland Arena in the Granger Court?
No, I would say it's already named the Coach Moreland Court. So it's already named that. What we're doing now, Coach, we're trying to, as a part of our new fundraising campaign, we're trying to get somebody's name on the building. Okay. And so that's a huge fundraising source for us if we can get somebody to put their name on the building. So that's what we're trying to do now, to get somebody to put their name on the building so we can get those fees for those building rights.
Right. Another question came up. What do you tell the TSU students to get them to support your non-winning athletic program? What are your words of wisdom?
I always tell them this: come support. We're probably losing because you're not supporting. So come out there and support. As I gave the observation earlier, and I tell people this, and I hate to keep putting myself in this situation of when I was here, but I've always said, I don't know if I do or accomplish everything I accomplished without seeing people that was cheering in the stands. Those alumni, those fans gave me the extra to go out there and do some amazing things. And I think these student athletes today deserve that same opportunity. I think when you are asking a running back to bust through the line and pick up that 4th and 1, and he don't have nobody cheering for him, that's a lot of times that's going to be difficult. And we do incentives and things of that nature. We meet with the student organization groups, tell them and show them how valuable they are to the athletic experience. And supporting the athletes. And we try to do all kind of initiatives, Coach. We give out shirts. We do all what everybody else do. Sometimes we give out pizza to the first so many in the stands, give out shirts, give out little trinkets and things of that nature. So we do everything that everybody else, do at other universities, trying to get involvement.
Well, this is one more. With your head coach going into his 4th year with 3 straight losing seasons, and now starting the season 0-2 with a big loss to division rival PV. Do you think we can turn the season around?
Absolutely, I do. Absolutely. I met with the whole entire football department last week and gave them those exact words. Yes, I think we can turn it around. I think we have the talent to turn it around. I think we just need to make some adjustments within the program and make sure we're, kind of going and teetering towards what we do well and what we don't do well. Let's get it corrected. But I absolutely believe in our football program, man. We have some phenomenal student athletes. We have some great ones. So I do think we can turn it around. But this weekend will be a big weekend for us. Obviously, we were able to defeat Southern last year in this classic. So this is going to be a big, huge game for us this weekend.
Texas Southern is a big project and is a big program, and I think that you're doing a great job there. Let's talk about the big thing in HBCU is compliance. You hear what happened to Florida A&M. I could truly honestly say when I was there, we only had one compliance guy and 375. Where's our compliance guy, compliance department at now?
Well, thankfully, knock on wood, after that, what you talked about, and at that time, we only had one. Dr. McClellan was able to, obviously, after that, beef up that program, beef up that office. And now we have about 4 people that work in that office, and we have about 5 or 6 that work in our academic unit as well. So we have about, you can say about 10, 11 people as a total that handles, our academic and compliance part of it for our university. As you know, you can't successfully certify and get all of those student athletes certified and make sure they're on the right track with one person. That's impossible. There's too many student athletes that have to be accounted for. And so we do have the staff. Thankfully for us, it's going into the 12th year that we haven't had any sanctions for as our compliance and things of that nature. So we're really, really excited. Mr. Maletta, who's from the NC2A, who came about after that, after that situation came to us, he's been with us since then, and he's from the NC2A, and he does an outstanding job to make sure that we are evaluating our student athletes appropriately and not putting ourselves at risk.
Yeah, he does a fabulous job in that. He knows what he's doing, and I thank him for that. Right. Man, it's been great, Coach. We getting to the end. We come to Arlington, Texas.
Yes, sir.
This week versus the Southern Jaguars. We're looking for a big win. We got to get back on track. Right. And as you say, that Coach McKinney, he has everything under control, and he's going through his 4th year. So we're looking for big things. Johnny Jones. One other thing, volleyball program, Mark. I know we had a little turnover there. Mm-hmm. Where we at?
They're coming along. We have a first-year coach in Alexis Austin, and so they're out there now. They're playing. Obviously, we're competing. We're trying to, move the program forward as best as possible. So they're competing. They're competing at a, right on schedule as best we could expect them to compete right now as a new coach going into the first year.
Basketball. We got a new basketball coach, Skeeter. Coach Skeet.
On the women's side. Hey, I'm excited for both of our new coaches, to be honest, Coach. Both of our women's basketball coach and our volleyball coach brings a wealth of knowledge. They are fiery, Coach. They get after it. They pushing us so they can achieve greatness, and they're bringing in the student athletes. If you see an opportunity to see who Alexis, Coach Austin, be bringing on the campus, man, Coach Austin is really, really tall. Every student athlete she done brought on this recruiting trail has been just as tall as her. And I'd be like, oh, those the basketball? Is that the basketball team? And they were like, no, that's the volleyball recruits. I'd be like, oh, my goodness. So I think we're heading in the right direction, Coach. I think with both of those additions going to benefit our athletic program tremendously.
And I'll let you know, I reached out to her. And she called me back.
Okay.
Made me feel like, because I'm bright. I got a niece that wants to come to Texas Southern play volleyball. So I'll tell her she got a feather in her cap.
All right.
Perfect. I made sure I let her know who I was.
All right.
Yeah. But hey, Coach, man, look, we're proud of you. You're doing a super, super job. You're one of us. We're gonna support you. I'm gonna support you to the end. And once basketball season again, we'll wrap some more.
Okay.
What are your final remarks?
Well, I want to piggyback first and thank you, Coach, for allowing me to come on the HBCU Stroll with Coach Cole. I'm excited to be a part of it. Anytime there's an alum that are doing some great things, I definitely want to get on in and put my little 2 cents into it and help out the best that I can. Also, I want to make sure everybody come out to Arlington, Coach. As you mentioned, Arlington, the game against Southern is this weekend. And it's a big game for us. I will say that, Coach. It's a huge game for us. As I stated, we were able to defeat the Jaguars last year in this classic, and we really need to beat them again to get off, to change some of our fortunes. You go from losing games to obviously winning. I'm hoping that the alumni come out and show up and show out, support us, be in the stands so we can make sure we have a great game. Go Tigers.
Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today is Monday, September 12th, 2022. And yes, we're back at it. Number 1, the Department of Justice continues to wrangle with Donald Trump, his lawyers, and the Trump-appointed federal judge, Eileen Cannon. In its objection to the Cannon decision, justice lawyers stated for the record that despite the call for a special master, federal investigators cannot stop their work in going over the material found at the former president's home August 8th. The Justice Department also said they would submit the names of candidates to consider for the position of special master. Despite their objection, Justice Department lawyers and Trump legal teams made their proposals for people to serve as a special master. Number 2, while Great Britain is in official mourning, in the British Empire's former colonies, Queen Elizabeth's death brings about complicated feelings, including anger. Beyond official condolences, there's some bitterness about the past in Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, and elsewhere. Talk has turned to the legacies of colonialism. Anger was expressed by the everyday citizens who saw Queen Elizabeth as a symbol of a nation that often rode roughshod over people it subjugated. Number 3, New York State is dropping its mask requirement on public transportation, thanks in part to the availability of new booster shots targeting the most common strain of COVID-19. Masks will be encouraged but not required on buses and trains, including the New York City subway system, according to Governor Kathy Hochul. Face coverings were required on public transportation statewide since April 2020, when New York was first ravaged by the coronavirus. Compliance in the subway system was high early in the pandemic, but it's dropped steeply in recent months. Number 4, one of the state of Florida's most prominent black historians said he was targeted in a racially motivated altercation in Rosewood, a small Florida town that was almost wiped off the map during a famous race riot almost 1 century ago. Dr. Marvin Dunn said he and a small group were surveying a 5-acre property he co-owns in Rosewood earlier this week when a white neighbor began questioning their intentions. Unhappy with the response, Dr. Dunn said the man got into his pickup truck and made several passes at their group, repeatedly yelling the N-word and almost striking Dr. Dunn's son. Number 5, inflation isn't only costing small businesses money, it's costing them customers as well. For much of the pandemic, small business customers were largely tolerant of price increases and kept on spending. But now owners say they're seeing some pushback. Inflation has been rising at nearly the fastest pace in 40 years, driven up by strong consumer spending and higher costs for food, rent, medical care, and other necessities. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Judge a person by their actions, not their words. Silence speaks volumes. Whew. Join me today, live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, with comedians extraordinaire Huggy Lowdown and Chris Paul, and social justice contributor Coy Malone, as we discuss today's top headlines and more. Thank you to our What You Need to Know partners, the American Heart Association and Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. To subscribe to my free daily newsletter, please visit SybilWilkes.com. Be informed, be empowered.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.